Modern technologies are split in today's world into segments so fast that I won't be surprised if one day a car is produced for a young man aged 34-35 who limps his left leg, is brown-eyed, weighs 70 kilos and likes Jessica Alba. Big data conquers all things. And as soon as the number of such guys reaches around 250,000, automakers will definitely produce a car designed especially for them. Why do I say that? Because not so long ago it seemed to me that a fly could not fit between Evoque and a Sport. But just look at that. It did. You are watching 2HP. My name is Ralph. Let's start testing this absolutely splendid car. I'm absolutely confident that those who don't find this car elegant, unfussy and impetuous must be burned on a sacred fire of Holy Inquisition. Those who escape will be finished off with a high-tech asp stake right now. Please welcome special deployable handles that retract into the bodywork in a most secret way. It is absolutely obvious that this design and these handles will make 90% of sales in the world. Now the waiting list for this car has long crossed the borders of the foggy Albion and stopped somewhere at India's frontier. In fact, Velar's rivals are straightforward. Of course, it's Audi Q5, Mercedes GLC and certainly Volvo XC60. We have managed to select for the test only Volvo XC60. Why? Of course, both Mercedes-Benz and Audi have test cars, but they match neither in terms of power nor in configuration. And you might complain afterwards. And Volvo is almost a perfect match. Besides, this car is very, very good looking. Indeed, Volvo XC60 looks glorious and is extremely proportional. However, on the other hand, I can say that XC60 is only a scaled-down version of XC90. But let's have a look at competitors' model lineup. We see exactly the same nesting doll approach. What are the main differences between Velar and Volvo design-wise? Velar is an adorable young top model in bikini, whose curves and proportions knock everyone's socks off. While Volvo is a mature, well-coiffed woman who, even with minimum makeup and wearing a formal pantsuit, fires imagination just as well as Velar. Well, now it's time to see what this car is really capable of and what it has on the inside. No, I have changed my mind. We are not going anywhere yet because, according to the laws of the test drive genre, I must come up to the boot now, press the button and explain that premium cars come with an automated tailgate. There is a button and other boot configuration options. Besides, the boot of this car, called Range Rover Velar, can accommodate 673 liters of cargo. And with the rear seats folded, the cargo hold can swallow 1700. Jeez, do you really think that there are people who buy Velar because its boot volume is about 1800 liters and the rear seats are foldable? I think that a girl who has had the impudence of wheedling out Range Rover Evoque is now hectically thinking how to twist and turn to get Range Rover Velar. She is imagining how she will look inside this car, what color lipstick, manicure and makeup would match. And all this story about the boot, guys, believe me, it's not about this car. But the story about the boot of Volvo is quite pertinent, because this car is among housewives' favorites. And all you have to do is elegantly move your feet below the rear bumper, and the tailgate will open. In addition, I have prepared a special crib note, which will help me figure out the capacity of this boot, 635 liters. And with the seats folded, we get the volume of 1432 liters. Besides, here you can find two magical buttons. One of them locks the tailgate only, while the other one locks both the boot and the car. Is it handy? Indeed. I'm absolutely sure about what will catch your eye first. Loads of big displays inside. One is oblong square on the central console. Also, a bit lower on the central console, there is a huge touch screen and special dials. But more on that later. Gearshift switching, same as in Jaguar. You just press the button, everything is deactivated and the dial is retracted. You press the button, everything gets activated and the dial is deployed. By the way, right now a gorgeous girl driving Range Rover Sport is peeping at Range Rover Velar. You cannot see her, but she can see me and the car pretty well. Meanwhile, we continue our test drive. Perhaps she will come up now and ask, "May I see the car?" Can you imagine my mournful face as I answer, "No, you may not." Well, there is a third display, instrument cluster. It is another panel, a graphical one. Its design and content can be changed here. When I look at this steering wheel, it reminds me of Iron Man, with nice little Cheburashka's ear. In fact, those ears are not just dark plastic inserts with some what-to-do tips. Those are also touch panels, and the way they look can be changed. How? You'll see how. This is the interface we have now. As soon as we push menu button, all these pictograms change. I'm not sure about rendition, but we can see that during operation, due to contact with my hands, all those surfaces have become quite sludgy, slimy and dusty. That's why Range Rover Velar comes with an incredibly beautiful, I would even say premium, silky cloth. Don't be lazy to use it and wipe all control elements and touchscreens to look extremely premium, by no means untidy all the way. I think that a certain number of viewers are now cynically watching this oblong display glare, and the audience begins to swear because it shouldn't glare. Of course, I've made it up just for rhyme, because our viewers are very well conducted. They never use obscene language, never make some horrible, insulting comments, and are always polite and well-mannered with each other. That is why they are surely guessing that if we press the Set Up button, we will see that this panel can be adjusted to change the angle so that the screen does not glare. Another very important and very cool thing is the design, computer graphics in all those displays. If before you were admiring your car while approaching it, getting out of it and thinking about its beauty, now you can contemplate your car virtually in real time. Because if you take a look at the lower central display and cycle through different menus, your precious car will always be displayed right in the screen. На вот этом вот мониторе вы всегда будете видеть изображение вашего любименького автомобиля. Единственная проблема, которая возникает... The only problem is that the car won't be necessarily right color, but exactly the model you are driving. Now have a good look at those absolutely beautiful rotary dials. This is genius, guys! They are a perfect match for this manipulator called human hand. I hate adjusting things on a touch screen. Minus, minus, plus, plus, plus. And Range Rover is aware of that. That's why the volume can be adjusted with this special dial. I really love it, because you can not only exercise in striking a button in the touchscreen, but also use this dial. This feels just incredible to operate. How this giant screen can be helpful? And why is it like that there? Because, kids, the number of functions this car has would require a huge quantity of buttons. A big touch screen solves all the problems, and the cabin has clean, minimalistic and very elegant look. You can choose between driving modes and change ground clearance, because this car is on an air suspension. Also, you can select Auto mode, and the system will automatically determine what surface you are moving on – off-road, asphalt, sand, Arctic, etc., etc. But if you happen to be a perfectionist, you can set everything up manually. Of course, there is Eco mode that optimizes the cruising characteristics for more fuel-efficient driving, and certainly Dynamic mode. Besides, you can switch to Sport mode with the transmission gearbox. An important thing I need to tell you: the program interface is completely in Ukrainian. This means that if right now you can phonetically perfectly pronounce this means that you understand the Ukrainian language. If it's not the case, you should select any other language, in which you will be able to communicate with each other reasonably well. By the way, the question why there is one round cup holder and some square-shaped thing holders kept me puzzled for quite a while. And where is the second one for the second occupant? Because sometimes he or she is not less important than the driver. I was looking at this knob, gear selector and Land Rover logo for quite a long while, and eventually all those pieces came together in my head, and then all of a sudden I pressed the logo and got my second cup holder. Frankly speaking, I cannot say it was absolutely straightforward, definitely not. Besides, it would be great if by pressing this same button everything would close again. But perhaps I'm asking for too much, because probably you just cannot require such things in a car that costs some miserable $96,000. Or maybe you can. Let's check out the finishing materials. On the one hand, as I said before, everything looks just perfect, because it's perfectly simple and minimalistic. On the other hand, I don't really understand why in the cars of this level there is so little leather. Maybe it's because of the movement to save animals' lives. Anyway, if you look at the dashboard, the upper part is made of plastic, a soft one. This insert, based on my profound conviction and tactile feel, is not natural leather, but some leather mock, which has a soft touch though. Here are inserts of glossy plastic. By the way, do you remember the holy war you started when watching Nissan Qashqai test drive? Then I said that glossy plastic gives a cabin more luxury finish. Okay, imagine that this plastic that shines like grand piano was substituted with the one which is used for door bins. You would get some horrible share green, terrible delves. But when we use plastic that shines like glance coal, then all this combination of leather, synthetic leather inserts, aluminum, shiny surfaces, graphical panels and simple, plain but glossy plastic, then we get a really premium car interior design. And no one can make me change my mind, even you guys. Now let's switch to the seats. In this respect, everything is fine. They are made of leather and have perforated inserts. We've got Alcantara inserts, outstanding lateral supports and plenty of adjustments. Unfortunately, in this version we have neither massage nor as many adjustment options as we would like to, but with maximum trim level, which would cost around 130,000. We are promised to have everything and even more. Seat heating is available, of course. I haven't told you that we have an armrest. Inside there are two USB inputs. The armrest can slide and cover your Genius cup holders, but you can rest your arm upon it very comfortably, and your elbows will be quiescent at all time. Should we proceed to the rear seats? That's an important question. I don't like doing it because I'm lazy, but many viewers insist, telling, "Come on, 6 feet tall dude, you're sitting only in front. Don't be lazy, move to the rear seats and show if there is enough knee room." Okay, now I'm gonna adjust the seat so that it's in a perfect position for driving. Everything's okay, I'm absolutely comfortable, and I start displacing to the rear seats. The key is to take this lavalier so that I don't tear it off during this wonderful trip. See you in the back row. So 190 is sitting at the backseat of Range Rover Velar. The front seat is also adjusted for a 6 feet tall person, and it's obvious that my knees are touching the backrest, however, without bearing too much against it and without causing any particular discomfort. I feel that the backrest is too upright, but this is something fixable. Since there are buttons next to the seats, that means that there is electric seat adjustment. As for the headroom, I'm gonna take off my cap. I've got the most aerodynamic hairdo. And as you can see, there is enough room for the head. In general, it feels fairly cozy here. The only thing is lacking is some entertainment and wow effect, but again, I think that with maximum trim you can get headrest and some extra touchpads to manage, for example, the climate control system for rear seat passengers. Well, in general, everything is quite good. From the outside, the car seems smaller than it really comes inside. Describing the interior design of Volvo XC60, I would say that it's certainly a 21st century car with natural wood and really top-quality leather finish. Both look and touch are splendid. But we will start with the driver's seat. In fact, sitting comfort is good, not least due to very high-end seats with numerous electric adjustment options. The seats, as you can see, are perforated, have outstanding lateral support and are absolutely not hopeless design-wise. If you take a look at the control cluster, you will see that it's a graphical panel, of course. Volvo is a pioneer in this realm. Steering wheel is multifunctional, but this glossy plastic is just glossy plastic and not cool graphical panels like in Range Rover. On the central console you can find a very intuitive and well-known, what I call Volvo Touchpad. XC90 comes with it, V90 comes with it. It's everywhere, and of course in XC60 as well. It's easy to navigate, but remember that you can go to different driving modes using a special switch just behind the automatic gear shift knob. Here we've got start-stop, and then this switch. We go to drive mode and can select between eco, comfort, off-road, dynamic and individual settings. Everything is simple, clear and functional. Of course, there are some issues about Volvo XC60 too. First of all, the key fob. Those boggers that you can hear now are moving from one Volvo model to the next, and nobody can fix it. Guys, this is a high-end car. This is the case when attention to details and materials is of most importance. This is what creates the image of an expensive and, I dare to say, luxury car, and this key fob devalues the entire project. There is also one little problem for tall drivers. I really admire the form factor of XC60 because I think that this, I will repeat myself, is a perfect size for city driving. But at the same time, I occasionally touch the ceiling with my head. Maybe the version without panoramic roof would offer a bit more headroom, and I would be more comfortable. Seat adjustment? Yes, yes and yes. I have lowered it to maximum, but it still has not helped me. Talking about features, here there's way less show-off than in Range Rover Velar. You won't see the views of your car. Computer graphics is somewhat interior in its glow, appeal and options to Velar. In terms of functionality, Volvo is as good as Range Rover. And if you happen to wonder, for example, is this leather safe for a small kid? Won't he or she become allergic if his or her precious little body contacts with the seat? So Volvo has conducted a research, most likely putting small kids to the question, I'm joking, and finally found the very leather that does not provoke allergic reactions in 100% of cases. What does it mean? Have trials been performed? Yes, they have. Has money been spent? Yes, it has. Are children safe? Yes, they are. But this is invisible show-off by Volvo. The same thing about the safety systems. You can't see it, but the car is protecting you all the time. Now trimming materials. I haven't figured out yet how much this version of Volvo costs, but plastic dashboard is a bit frustrating. The interior looks bright and smart, thanks to designers who opted for a multicolor finish. This is very good and advantageous for the people who like diversity. If you remember, I'm 6.2 feet tall, and I won't let you forget about it. Now the front seat has been adjusted to my comfort. What do we have? My knees do not touch the back of the front seat, and that's great because it's made of a rigid plastic. Sitting comfort is good, backrest angle is fine. We've also got an armrest with a special compartment and cup holders, 2 cup holders. Certainly some space for a mobile phone. We also have 12 volts output and a standard socket. We've got rear seat heating and controls for rear climate control system. By the way, it looks quite good, I would even say sexy, if you're a gadget fan. This version of XC60 comes with air suspension. That's the reason why on good asphalt road it feels both well-tuned and comfortable. However, pits and potholes will guarantee acoustic discomfort. By the way, thanks to the air suspension, ground clearance can be changed. You will surely see it when changing drive mode. Off-road increases clearance, while dynamic mode stiffens suspension and minimizes ground clearance to improve vehicle's durability. On close to European quality asphalt, Range Rover Velar, especially in eco or automatic mode, looks incredibly comfortable, very smooth and stately, mostly thanks to 8-speed automatic transmission. It's even reminiscent of Mercedes. But as soon as we get to our dear bumps and dips, we experience a pretty strong acoustic discomfort, and you can hear your 21-inch rims produce brr brr sound. And neither mode helps. This is really annoying indeed. That is something I don't like. But so it goes, that's the story. Perhaps it can be solved by changing wheel size and increasing, and I get carried away with possible solutions like smaller wheels, higher tire section. But what we really need is a quality road pavement, because every time I tell English, German, Japanese engineers that suspensions of your cars rattle on the Ukrainian roads, they can't even understand what I'm talking about. What do I mean by suspension is not well tuned, by suspension bangs, by acoustic discomfort? Get in and we'll go for a ride on this perfect Spanish road, and you'll explain us what you think is rattling. I have nothing to answer that. Of course, I want to take them for a ride on Kiev-Kirovograd motorway, so that they get it perfectly clear that they should flee away, grab their cars and escape by railroad or plane, because cars cannot be driven there. Well, 5 minutes of hate are over. And I'd like to know that on high-quality asphalt, Range Rover Velar is exceptionally controllable. It's agile, aggressive and has a very good grip. There are not just my feelings. We're going to test this and you'll see the results. During Slalom, both crossovers look rather controllable and predictable, especially taking into account unperceivable adjustments by numerous safety systems. However, aggressive and sporty Velar finishes in 11.8 seconds, while Volvo in 11.2. This means that Volvo is 0.6 seconds faster. During elk test, we cannot do anything with full-time safety systems and just check how efficient the symbiosis of a human and electronics can be. Velar easily copes with this exercise at 60 and 65 km per hour. It requires minimum effort, but the center of gravity feels to be high. It takes quite a lot of effort to exceed 70 km per hour. But this is not a control problem. It's just because stability control reacts to oversteering with hard braking and bold attempts to stabilize and stop the car. That said, 70 km per hour is my ceiling value with Velar. XC60 is also well stuffed with electronics, but is more tolerant to such maneuvers than Velar. It accepts speed levels of 60, 65 and even 70 km per hour. It has turned out that my ceiling value driving XC60 is 75 km per hour. I've got a feeling that Velar's electronic neck strap is tightened up faster and more strictly than that of Volvo. Braking. Velar has Michelin Latitude tires. Velar's best result at 60 km per hour is 10 meters 80 centimeters, and two worst results exactly 11 meters 10 centimeters. So the arithmetic average of 3 trials is 11 meters. Volvo also has Michelin Latitude tires, but the size is different. The best braking test result of XC60 is 10 meters, the worst 11.5. The arithmetic average of 3 trials is 10 meters 76 centimeters. Paraphrasing Henry Ford, Volvo in Ukraine is available with any engine provided that is 2 liters, 4-cylinder, turbocharged. That's why we've got a D5 marked engine under the hood. It's a 2-liter turbo diesel, power around 240 horsepower, torque 480 newtons. This fairly big car with that type of engine and 8-speed transmission is claimed to be able to speed up to 100 km per hour in 7.2 seconds. Let's check! Speed test results are very interesting. As I've already mentioned, in Ukraine Volvo XC60 comes with 2-liter turbo diesel. Power can vary. In our case, it's 235 horsepower. As we have found with a drift box, due to 480 newtons of torque, all-wheel drive and 8-speed transmission, the car accelerates to 100 km per hour in 8.4 seconds. This is quite good, even though according to the specification, XC60's 0 to 100 range is 7.2 seconds and according to other data, even 7 seconds. Range Rover Velar is not less fancy. It also comes with 2-liter turbo diesel, engine power 240 horsepower and 500 newtons of torque. Velar's 0 to 100 range is claimed to be 7.3 seconds. And here we faced a mishap. 10.9 seconds was the best time shown by Velar. This means a discrepancy of 3 seconds. This is very strange. So strange that we even started to suspect that despite being 2-liter, our engine was a standard 180 horsepower engine. In this case, the claimed time would be 8.9 seconds, but this is still 2 seconds below the shown results. This is a mystery. All in all, we have to count Volvo as a winner, which is minimum 2.5 seconds faster than Velar with any 2-liter turbo diesel. And of course, we will check all-wheel drive system. First, because it's in place. Second, because it's claimed to be very good. Third, because we have a special equipment for that. And right now those rollers will show us the reality and not animated graphics, which is informing me that we have blocked differentials and showing the way the system is operating now. But it does not matter what computer graphics shows. The important thing is the ability of the car to drive off the rollers. Despite glamorous design, Range Rover Velar is a vehicle capable of standing up for itself in off-road conditions. It can cross a 65 cm deep wade. Its terrain response 2 system analyzes road conditions and selects optimum settings for driving on different surfaces. Air suspension enables increasing ground clearance to 25 cm, while all-wheel drive system has a central and active rear differential. This means that our rollers to check AWD in action are not a big problem for Velar, even if we use 3 of them. Velar was actually under pressure only once, when the vehicle had to be budged with only one wheel. Volvo's clearance can also be increased. It has an air suspension and all-wheel drive with 5th generation multiple disc clutch Borg-Warner in rear-wheel drive. The clutch is locked at all time, guaranteeing good start and smart distribution of drive torque between both axles. So our rollers for XC60 are also a little danger, even though at the end the vehicle has kept us nervous for some extra seconds. I'm pretty sure that most of you have enjoyed our comparison test of Volvo XC60 versus Range Rover Velar, because we actually compare premium cars, similar in terms of price, features and trim level, but completely different in terms of concept, philosophy and approach to solving particular problems or tasks. This was 2 horsepower. My name is still Ralph.